Hello everybody, welcome back to AGB Cars here. Aaron here again, and we're going to dive into the first day of the Barcelona test of 2015. And again, like we did in Jerez, we're going to have analysis of every day of the 4-day test here, as well as the second Barcelona test, which is in a week or two. So, diving straight into day one, quite an eventful morning. 4 red flags and a lot of drivers and a lot of cars, particularly a lot of drivers, and some drivers being in 2 cars on the same day. So lots of exciting things to talk about. First, we're just gonna go down the order and talk about the teams really. So as you can see, the fastest driver of the day was Pastor Maldonado in the Lotus. Quite surprising maybe for some, but we know that the Lotus did show fairly good space in Jerez, even though it arrived a day late. Yeah, so 125, almost 125 flat with 69 laps. A pretty good day. Just bear in mind that time was on the soft tyre. Kimi Raikkonen's there was on the medium, so, and like that tyre compound probably gives you about a second a lap advantage, so just bear that in mind. And of course, I say this on all the testing videos here, that the times don't mean as much as you might think they do, because I know some teams may go for qualifying like runs with soft tyres and low fuel, but then a lot of the teams aren't interested in that and just stick to long runs and finding faults with the car and doing aero work and working on setups and so forth. So bear in mind the times aren't really representative of what they could mean, I suppose. So the Lotus, yeah, good pace. A couple of small issues though. Maldonado actually caused 2 red flags this morning. One 26 minutes into the session, and then another an hour later. But there were only small issues, just some sensors, as Lotus say. And also like showing obviously the speed that the Mercedes engine has, of course, because we know, and we're expecting that the Mercedes engine this year will be as good as it was last year relative to its rivals. Then second position, Kimi Raikkonen in the Ferrari. So we know from Jerez that the Ferrari is a quick car. It was, in Jerez, probably was on light fuel in the soft tyres as they do. But yeah, so Kimi Raikkonen's second on the medium tyres. So like if he had been on the same tyres that Maldonado had been on, he probably would have been a second quicker than Maldonado. So bear that in mind. 74 laps as well is very good again. Another encouraging day for them. And again, like the fact that Ferrari are going for quick times, I said this in one of the Jerez videos as well, that it suggests that they kind of feel that they have a reliable engine and they don't need to test a lot of like reliability and how the engine performs. So all they need to do is work on going fast, I suppose. So yeah, so that's encouraging anyway. Ferrari said that they focused on setups, long runs, and practice starts on the first day. Then we moved down to the third place driver, Ricciardo in the Red Bull, at 25.5 with 59 laps. And the Red Bull, of course, we saw they came out in Jerez with their camouflage livery on the I want to say RB11, I think. I'm just looking at it doesn't say on that. No, I think it's the RB11, yeah, so the camouflage is still on the car, hiding, I presume, something big that they have on it. Minor teething problems in the morning, they said, and then mainly aero work in the afternoon. But a good time from Red Bull, because we hadn't really seen a quick time from them in Jerez, and they were not able to produce many laps. So it was an encouraging day anyway for Red Bull with that time by Ricciardo. Then we go down to Force India. This is where things start to get a little bit interesting. So they started off with the DTM driver of Pascal Wehrlein. So they had him in the morning and he completed 32 laps, and you can see his time there in 8th. He did a 1:28.3. But then I'll talk about this later when we get to the Mercedes end of things. But then Perez took over from Wehrlein and then completed an additional 34 laps for Force India on a 26.6. So they said they were just doing aero tests, and remember that Force India have come to this test with the 2014 car, but just with some modified aero work and some. Obviously, it's a bit quicker than what they had last year, but it's the same chassis with more advanced wings and all aero tips and all kinds of stuff like that. So bear in mind that is the 2014 car. Then Sauber in 5th, Felipe Nasr. Sauber, yes. So they're not as fast as we saw them in Jerez, as you know that the Sauber was really looking strong in Jerez, but this obviously isn't as impressive over 2 seconds off the pace. Good amount of laps though, 80 laps almost. They said that they focused on setup work this morning, and they also caused a red flag when Felipe Nasr had a little bit of a collision with the Williams of Susie Wolff. There was quite a few debates about this, I suppose, over the social medias, but from what I understand, it was Nasr's fault. Wolff was on an outlap, and Nasr was coming up behind her, and she obviously saw him behind her, moved over and let him pass, but then there was kind of a miscommunication, I suppose, and Nasr cut across Wolff, and they both ended up in the gravel traps. Both cars were minorly damaged, but both managed to get out again near the end of the session. And then they also caused a red flag at the end with about 2 minutes to go in the session. Not sure what that was about, but I suppose it was just a minor fault with the car. And then Max Verstappen was 6th fastest in the Toro Rosso with a 1:27.9. Most laps of the whole day though with 94, very impressive, bringing the Toro Rosso total up to 447 laps. You can see on the extra column there. Good laps, all looks well there. Nothing really much to say about Toro Rosso other than it looks like a pretty strong car and a reliable car, more importantly. Then McLaren, Jenson Button in the car, 7th fastest, 1:28.1. Only 21 laps though, and only 100 laps so far over the whole 5 days. So all looked well in the morning, and they set a pretty good time in comparison to what they were doing in Jerez, because they were about like 20 seconds or 30 seconds off the pace, not trying at all, just trying to make it around the end of the lap with a car still at the end of it. But here, I mean, it was slightly more competitive, and only 21 laps though. It was looking good in the morning, but then a failed seal on the MGUK caused Jenson to stop out on the track, and that piece that failed, Honda are not happy about that, and they have to redesign the whole component, which could mean that McLaren will have very limited running tomorrow as well, and may not be back to what they would like to be back to until Saturday, if that makes any sense. So then we'll skip Mercedes if we can for a minute. I just want to talk about Williams first. Susie Wolff in the car. I personally really like Susie Wolff. I think she's a great image for the sport and fits really well into the Williams suit. So, I mean, it's really fantastic to see her on the grid, albeit it's only a test session. But the time, obviously, 4 seconds off, but you can't really speculate over that, because we know the Williams in Jerez were nowhere near the pace as well, and Bottas said that like there's loads to come from the engine and all. The engine wasn't turned up really at all, but a good amount of laps, 86, the second highest amount of laps by anyone in the day, which means that they're kind of working on the reliability end of things, which is something you can't be ashamed of. But times are not really a concern here, and the only little incident was the contact with Felipe Nasr. But the team fixed the car and she was able to get back out for the last 20 minutes or so of the session. Now, Mercedes, this is where it all gets really, really fun and confusing and exciting at the same time, so I'm going to try and explain it. They started in the morning with Hamilton. Hamilton was in the car, and he completed 11 laps early on, and then after an hour and 30 minutes he drove into the pits, and he said that he was not feeling well and felt he was not able to drive the car anymore. So Toto Wolff said, "Okay, Lewis, that's no problem. Where's Rosberg? Now, if we get Rosberg in the car, we can continue with our schedule." Rosberg comes back and says, "I've a bit of a sore neck. I don't think I can drive the car." Toto Wolff says, "All right, Nico. Who else can we get?" He phones up Vijay Mallya and asks, "You know the way we gave our test driver in the shape of Pascal Wehrlein to you for the test, would you awfully mind if we could have him back?" So after about another hours of no Mercedes action, they got back out with Wehrlein and completed an additional 48 laps. So all a bit confusing, I suppose, but all adds to the excitement. So quite productive day. Obviously not as many laps, I suppose, as Mercedes would have wanted, but no issues were reported with the team, and still they're miles ahead of anyone else in the total amount of laps in pre-season testing. So that's it to wrap up the first day of the Barcelona test. Main pointers would be Ferrari looking quick, Sauber and Williams looking reliable, and Mercedes looking for drivers. So that's it. See you on tomorrow's video, where we go over the second day of the test. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.